Well, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for coming out here. I love you. I love it. For those of you watching or listening, we're here with Morgan Littlechild. We're probably going to talk about some current events. We're probably going to talk about jiu-jitsu. We'll probably talk about martial arts. Probably talk about mental health, how they all kind of intertwine. But why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself and like kind of, give them a little introduction into yourself. It's your first podcast.
This is my first podcast, man. Yeah, so you'll have to excuse me if I get a little weird with it, but nonetheless, yeah. So as you said, my name's Morgan. I've had 19 MMA fights. I've had one boxing fight. So lifelong martial artist. I'm a martial arts coach. I'm a personal trainer. Um, starting starting to just kind of grasp myself as a businessman and grow from that point. So yeah, man, I'm very straightforward.
That's wicked. What was your first martial art that you got into? Was it jiu-jitsu or?
Was kickboxing actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was. I wanted to jump into mixed martial arts because I'd seen I'd seen a UFC at way back in high school. I think it was in 2008. So yeah, I was dating this girl, and then we went over to her dad's place, and then I seen it was a Chuck Liddell fight. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember watching that, and I was like, "That's fucking sick." And I'd been a fan of like pro wrestling, and I'd done a lot of had interest in pro wrestling, but then I grasped that it was kind of scripted and acted, and it wasn't like super primal and real. Once I had that exposure to mixed martial arts, I was like, that's what I want because it's actual competition. And then, but the selling point to my mom was like, no, that's not good. That looks violent. Looks like you're going to get fucked up. And then I had a selling point of there was a kickboxing gym not far in the basement of Future Shop. You remember Future Shop?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude. It was in the basement of Future Shop. And then a couple of the kids I went to school with at the time already went. So I got to I was like, yo, mom, like the boys are already there. Like it's safe. They're not getting hurt. Like let me jump into that. And she was like, okay, go on. Go ahead. So yeah, kickboxing was my first one.
That's wicked, man. And then you said you started jiu-jitsu like a year later because we were talking before this. You said like, oh, nine.
Yeah, it was about a year later. Yeah, in 2009, I started jiu-jitsu. So I'd been training kickboxing for a little while. I was also on my high school wrestling team. So I went to my local MMA club, and then I had my first day of jiu-jitsu, and then they could already see like my striking was a little more progressed than the other first timers, so they kind of just got me in training with the pros right away. And then I found out there was a local fight card, and I think it was XFC 8 put on by Bill Mahood, and they needed a last minute replacement for a fight, and I was like 15 years old, and I just told them, I was like, yeah, throw me in.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah. I think back to it now, I'm like, yeah, probably wasn't the smartest decision at all, but it's fucking cool. Yeah, so that was my first day of jiu-jitsu. It was also my first day of mixed martial arts, and it was my first agreement to a fight.
That's wild, man. Did you play any other sports growing up? Like, were you playing any like team sports, or was it always like kind of martial arts or kind of like solo stuff like that?
Yeah, I tried my hands at everything. Like I tried baseball, I tried football. I was a really good swimmer actually, but my mom and I grew up like super poor, so we couldn't afford like the equipment or the club fees or anything like that. Thankfully, the martial arts community, and this is this is a good culture that's continued on since. But I was able to like talk to my coach. I was like, "Hey, man, like we don't have a lot of money. This is what I can pay." And then that's how they were able, from the business side, they were able to bring me in. They're like, "Hey, my kid, no problem. Come in. Let's work." And I was like, "All right, sick."
When did you move into Vancouver? Because you were saying you grew up in Prince George.
I did grow up in Prince George. Yeah, so I was actually born in McBride. You ever heard of McBride?
Never heard of
Yo,
it. Man.
McBride has like 800 people to it. It's like 2.5 hours east of Prince George, just a small little humble town. So I was born there. My parents separated. We spent a bunch of time in Prince George, basically my entire adolescent life. We moved back to McBride once, but then ended up moving back to Prince George, and that's when I went to like grade 7 in a high school through there. I graduated high school 2012. I moved to Kamloops. I spent some years living in Kamloops. That's where I did the bulk of actually like my professional MMA career. Ended up moving back to Prince George. Spent some more years in Prince George, and then in 2018, I made the move to Vancouver, and I've been here since.
Nice, man. What's like the culture like there? Like, cause I feel like every time I've ever been to Kamloops, like everyone's just sitting in local bars. Like I'm always like, what do people do around here?
I think that's just kind of like a small town thing, man. I find like a small town, small city, whatever you want to call it, a lot of people just get like comfortable with what they have. Like they get settled in their 9 to 5. They kind of give up their big dreams and big aspirations, and they just get settled into this below middle class. I guess if you want to call it middle class, the middle class is like a dying concept, but they get settled into this like middle class routine, and they just that's it, man. That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, yeah.
You ever meet a guy named Bobby Bazran, by the way?
No, I don't think I have.
Shout out Bobby Bazran from Kamloops.
Okay.
He's a guy that I've had on the podcast. He's an author of a book, actually. He's like super hustling, and he's growing up. He's like a year younger than I don't know how old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay, so you're a year older than me. He's a year younger than me.
Okay, okay.
And yeah, him and his brothers are just literally killing it. Like one of them runs a clothing line, and then Bobby, the guy that I've had on, he's an author. But I feel like, yeah, that's like everyone that comes out of a small town like that is either like exactly like you're saying, either gives up completely on their dreams or just absolutely crushes
Ambitious, yeah.
It's crazy, man. And so when you came to Vancouver, were you kind of like, this is it? Like, like what was your kind of mentality at the time? Like, were you?
Well, I'd always like, especially growing up in Prince George, like Vancouver was like the big city. Whenever there'd be like wrestling trips, everyone gets in the bus. They're like, yeah, we're going to Vancouver. We're hyped. Like the big malls, all the people, all the traffic. So it always had like this like magical aurora around it. Like, and now that I grasp the concept better, is a place of opportunity. Vancouver's full of opportunity. Any major city with like, all the people, all the money, all the connections, that's a place of opportunity. So all again, all the opportunities that the city presented itself to me was like, yeah, I need to get there, continue working on myself and my goals from that point on, and then it'll escalate up to whatever ceiling is next.
That's crazy you say that because a lot of people that I've grown up with, like around this area, they're like looking for opportunity in other places. They're like, because I know so many people that are like moving either to the States or they're moving to like Calgary or they're moving to like other provinces because they're like, oh, the economy's different there. There's different opportunities. It's cool that you came here and you're like, this is the place for opportunity.
I think it is, man. I think it is. I'm big. I'm a big coastal guy too. Like I love being close to the oceans. I love the Pacific Northwest. I love the trees, the lakes, the waters, the mountains. So I think this is the spot, man. There's no coincidence that like the housing market out here is fucking insane.
Absolutely.
It's because the demand out here is the money's out here. The people want to be out here. The businesses are out here. I think this is the spot. Either this or Toronto, obviously. And when we're talking like the economic giants of Canada, it'd be here or Toronto.
Yeah, man. And so, through martial arts now, like, because you've been talking, you're like, I'm growing as a businessman in your own words. Like, is that kind of where your heart is set at? You're like, my businesses will always be around martial arts, or do you have any other ventures that you're working towards, or?
So ultimately, I want to get into real estate because real estate is king. Like people always need a place to live. When you buy land, land is eternal. Whether it depreciates or appreciates, you'll always have that literally piece of land. Can't get taken away from you. But I believe, yes, apart from that, martial arts or like mental health, kind of just like making people better, will always be what my universe gravitates around.
How do you see the two intertwined? Because like between, I mean, like mental health and martial arts. Because you're saying like through personal training and coaching, like you're helping people become better and probably improving their mental health as well. But like, how do you see those two intertwined?
Well, yeah, I mean, just going off of the fact like, yeah, mental health, martial arts. When you're exercising, you're always improving your mental health because you get a stress release, the hormones get going. I think it's serotonin gets released. Anyways, your serotonin levels are going up. You're improving yourself. You see physical changes, and martial arts is another aspect of that. You're getting your workout in. You're learning a new skill. Like having the confidence. Like when I step into a room, I know 99% of the people I ever come across would potentially give me an issue I'm going to have no issue with. I'm able to diffuse any negative social interaction I'm in because I have the confidence in myself as a martial artist. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if this goes south, I'm going to be able to take care of that, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely given me a bit more like over the last year. Like I grew up kind of playing like hockey and rugby and like I played like a season of football, a season of lacrosse. So like I was used to kind of getting roughed up for sure. But then once I started, and it's funny because when I was growing up playing hockey, I was always like, I wanted to get in fights. I was always like, I
Right.
want to fucking get in fights.
Yeah.
That's how I thought. And now, like, since I've been in jiu-jitsu for the last year, I'm like, man, I kind of want to avoid fighting people. Like,
Right.
especially
Yeah.
now that I know, like, the same way that there's, like, especially in Vancouver, there's, like, those cars that are sleepers, you know? They look
Yeah.
like your average car,
Yeah.
but then they can just fly.
Take off.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's how I see other people now. I'm like, I don't know if that guy could literally end my life in
Yeah.
seconds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's,
Yeah.
I want to avoid fighting at all costs now.
Well, I think when you train martial arts too, you learn the risk of like variables while you're like in a physical situation. So think about it, you're rolling and some dude just kicks you in the head. You're like, oh fuck, you kind of get your bell wrong. It's super annoying to deal with, right? Now you take that into like a practical real world scenario. So you're in a fight with somebody, you fucking step weird or you slip and fall, bonk your knee on the concrete, and you fucking blow your ACL. Or this is another good story. So I knew this guy. We'll save the details on this a little bit, but I knew this guy. Big dude. He was a fucking really big dude. Nice guy. Nicest guy in the world. He had a kid. He had a wife. He got in a physical altercation with this other guy at a house party. And this other guy was just like chipping at him, chirping at him, was just like drunk. Severely undersized opponent for the altercation, I will say. So right off the get-go, this was not looking good. But the guy that I knew was like a really big man. No martial arts training. But he just took a swing of the guy, hit him. The guy fell back, hit his head, died. Because he hit his head on concrete, died. The guy got 5 years for it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Man. Especially with like a kid and wife, you're like, see you in 5
It's
years.
fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, you get out like with I think you get out, it's like 2/3. You serve 2/3 of your sentence, I think it is, or you can get it even out earlier on parole with good behavior, which I imagine this guy probably behaved himself while he was in. He wasn't like a hooligan really at all. But nonetheless, now you have a record. You killed somebody, which is, I'm sure, not easy to deal with any which way you cut it.
Yeah, talk about mental health struggles after that, man.
Dude, fuck.
That's nuts. That's fucking insane.
It's
dude.
crazy. I know.
never think
Even
of
when I
that.
tell the story, I sit and think about it for a second. I'm like, dude, that's nuts. One punch, hit the guy one time. Guy fell back, hit his head, died.
Yeah, that's fucking insane, dude.
So
I think the other side of it that I've been really appreciating recently is like, especially, and this is something I'm probably talking about too much, but I feel like it's not something you can talk about too much. It's like since I've like kind of quit smoking weed and kind of like been trying to strip myself of vices, like I'm like, no more nicotine, no more fucking weed, no more booze. Like I just need to fucking clean my head out. I'm not saying like indefinitely. I'm just saying like for the next like at least till the end of the year. Like I need to hit refresh on my brain.
right.
I'm seeing like my mental health in certain ways, like different things trigger me. Like last week I had a fucking tough week where it's like, you know, getting an argument with my girlfriend. We kind of have like a little bit of like struggle there, and then like argument with like one of my parents, and then I fuck up at work, and all these things start compounding. And I get to like this dark place where I'm like, fuck all this, man. Like there's even a point where like I call my girl, I'm like, I'm done with the podcast. I'm done with social media. I'm fucking done with everything. I'm quitting my fucking job. Like I'm moving to butt fuck nowhere. Like I'm fucking done. Like best case scenario, if I even stay alive. Like I'm getting into dark places.
Right.
And she's like, go hit a workout and fucking call me after that. Like she's like pretty sympathetic for the first like couple hours. And then she's like, all right, get your head out of your ass. Go for a fucking workout and call me after. I'm like, I don't even think I can work out tonight. Like, fuck this. She's like, shut up. Go for a workout. Call me after. And like just having an opportunity for like an hour and a half to like literally be forced to forget about everything. And like, because you know better than I do, when you're in any situation, whether it's kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, any sport where it's like, if I stop focusing, I stop breathing.
Yeah.
You know, like so it's like just being in having the opportunity to be like, all right, here's an hour where you forget about your life and your problems. Afterwards, I'm like, all right, fuck, okay, maybe we can start to deal with this. Like, you know, like that was kind of the biggest appreciation point where I have recently, where it's like, you know, when you start to get rid of these opportunities of like, here's my pleasure button, it's like you start to think like, fuck, how can I start to develop this pleasure without having to just like hit a button or smoke a joint or fucking have a drink or whatever it is. Like how can I start to do a little bit more that's actually fulfilling for me? And like even to get into that mindset, it's like how can I forget about all this fucking doom and gloom for an hour?
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, you touch base on a lot of things there, and one that I want to continue on is what you're doing when you're working out is you're producing. And humans were meant to produce, especially men. We're meant to produce. We're meant to like everybody is born with the natural want to chase their goals and to be ambitious and to build something fucking awesome, whether it's like a house or whatever it is. We're building up. We're progressing. So when you're taking that time to work towards your goals and do that thing when what I call it like white space on a calendar. If there's no white space on your calendar, you don't have time to sit around and think about that like that doom and gloom because you're like, oh, I got to go. Like, for example, for my schedule today, I was like, okay, I got to wake up. I got to make breakfast. I got to eat. I got to check my emails. Okay, fuck. Now I need to dart to the gym. I need to train my clients. Okay, now I need to beat traffic to Richmond. I need to go here, do the podcast. I need to finish the podcast. I need to go to Vancouver, train another couple clients. Then I need to go have a meeting with this. I don't even know what exactly the meeting is. I don't know. They need an athlete to represent their brand or something. I don't actually know. I just agreed. I just agreed because I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, it sounds sick. It's gonna drive me towards my goals. I'm gonna meet new people. I'm gonna make business connections. And then I need to go home, have dinner, spend time with my lady, and then I need to have a workout. I need to play some games, connect with the boys. And I need to go to sleep and do the same thing over again. So my entire calendar is filled with something, even those like small little medial tasks, like, oh, obviously you need to make breakfast or obviously you need to cook lunch, whatever it is, put it in your calendar.
Oh
Set
yeah.
the time aside. When people do that, like I don't have time to sit and I catch up on all the news because it's important to be related to world topics. But like, I was literally 2 days behind the war in Ukraine when it kicked off. I was 2 days behind, and then it kind of like got brought up, and I was like, oh fuck, that happened. I was like, all right, we were all anticipating the buildup, but then it actually kicked off. Just as an example. So when you're working hard and you're producing and you're chasing your goals and your calendar is filled with important activities, you don't have time to sit and sulk or saturate in the doom and gloom of the world because you're working towards your goals, man.
Yeah, yeah. Or sit there and scroll through fucking Instagram, just
Yeah,
seeing all
just
that
the
shit.
zombie fucking, and then you catch it and you're like, that makes me sad. That's a generational thing that's going on right now. Like I have some students. The younger, they're good kids. They all have really good hearts. But what I see them sharing the most on their stories, particularly at Instagram, is like they'll share like news of another school shooting, or they'll share the news of like their favorite rapper overdosed and died, versus sharing good news, sharing something fucking awesome that happened. Like, just an example. Yeah. So it's easier to go on a social media, find these negative outflows. And that's really what the news was designed to do. That's what sells. Bad news sells.
Yeah, 100%.
So constructively or deconstructively, I guess, that's where social media can be like a bit of a hindrance to your progress.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. I find myself getting more, like you said, like I find myself getting more and more pissed off about what people share. I'm like, why the fuck are you talking about this? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And there's so many times, like, yeah, dude, 100%. I just see that so many times where,
And then but then from that point on, it's super easy. Just hit the unfollow button or stop following them or mute their stories or whatever it is. I know there's a weird cultural thing. Like I unfollowed somebody and I don't even remember because I didn't like something like it seemed like the doom and gloom. I just didn't feel like whatever they were posting aligned with my goals. So I just unfollowed them. Or we didn't have a real day-to-day relationship, so I didn't really feel like it mattered. They felt like it mattered.
Mhm.
And they reached out to me and they're like, hey, I saw you unfollowed me on Instagram. And I was like, yeah, so what?
yeah, it's like,
Is that
do we
does that
talk?
is that a hindrance to your life? You know what I mean? There's a weird
They
like
actually reached out to you.
they
That's
reached
sick.
out to me, yeah, and I was just like, what the fuck? And then you think about it, like it is like a cultural thing. Like I remember even when I was younger, now I could give a fuck less who follows me or who unfollows me. But I think back to being like, oh, when I was like a teenager, like this person deleted me on Facebook, and I'd get like so butthurt about it. I have no idea why. I can't understand the mindset behind it. It's fucking stupid, man. But what a like a cultural thing with the technology age. It's fucking hilarious.
Dude, you know what I realized this week? I went through like a purge of Instagram followers,
Mhm.
and I realized that you can only unfollow 300 people a day. I literally went,
What? That's a thing?
yeah,
Oh,
dude.
that's so weird. What the
Dude,
fuck?
I went through literally. I sat there. I was at my parents' place, and I was like, I gotta fucking. I hate half the shit that I see, dude. Like a lot of it for me as well is like, I open up and it's like, dude, I open up my phone and all I see is like tits and asses and stuff, and it's like, man, this is kind of my doing. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'm fucking,
yeah. This is
I'm,
what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm done with this. Like it's like obviously my girls doesn't like that shit. And it's like for me as well. It's like, do I want to be like sitting here working on my podcast, working on different like kind of side hustles that I've got going on, or do I want to be scrolling through my phone looking at tits? Like it's like, dude, fuck this. So I went through a purge, man. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm done. Like, there's anybody that isn't like in my life or contributing to my betterment or like I see on a regular basis or like literally like family,
Mhm.
I'm done. Like, and so I started purging my follow, like who I follow.
Yeah.
And at one point, it's like, you can't unfollow this many people
That's
in
so
one day.
weird,
And I
man.
couldn't like things anymore. Like, it literally for like 24 hours was like, you got to take a break.
What the fuck? That's so weird. I don't get it.
I'm like, man, what the fuck? It's like, I guess it's like kind of to, the only thing I could think of was like, maybe this is like to stop bots, like from like following like 1,000 people and then like unfollowing them, I guess. Or like,
I would assume that's what it is. That's what the algorithms in place are for, I imagine. I mean, I'll use this for an example. It's a little different than Instagram. But say Instagram, okay, no, we'll just fuck it. We'll go with Instagram. So say your Instagram was your chief primary source of business, which for me it partially is. So say you have all these business connections, like all these people who follow that you met through like doing podcasts, tournaments, business meetings, whatever it is. And then say you had a fucking psycho ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend go into your social media and then just start unfollowing like all your business connections. It would be fucking detrimental to your business, right? So I could see, I mean, that's a very rare one-off occurrence, obviously, but I could see how that could be of constructive use, I guess.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it was weird though, man. That one experience, I was like, what? I can't unfollow people anymore? Like, what the fuck? There was too many people I unfollowed. But yeah, man, I had to go through that purge because, like, I was like going through my Instagram and I'm like, I don't want to look at this stuff. And I was like, wait, this is kind of my fault.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, fuck.
You
I should-
surrounded yourself with those ideas, with those influences, whatever you want to call it, at one point. But it's good to see like you, like you said, you're a year younger than me. So you at 27 years old, you're continuing to evolve as a man. You're continuing to evolve as a person. So you completely took everything around you and then you changed it to match your goals, match your ambitions. So that's cool, man.
Yeah.
It's very cool. A
Well-
lot of people, excuse me, sorry. A lot of people wouldn't do that. They don't have the mind for it.
Yeah. It's weird, man. I'm definitely seeing like you know, as we kind of go through our late 20s now, I'm seeing like the divergence of people, like the people that are still out there looking for parties and just literally like yeah, kind of even the way they speak about like their partners or the way they speak about their parents or their friends or anything like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, what
Yeah,
the
it's crazy, man. Like, yeah, especially speaking about your partners. Like, your partner, like, they call it a partnership because it's 50-50. Like, how you going to be out there and about, like, speaking bad about your partner? That's fucked. That's weird, man. Obviously, you're not in the right relationship. Or do you know what I mean? Like, I would never. And for me, it's different because like I've met the perfect partner. Like my lady is the exact reflection of who I am ethically. I love everything about her. She's literally one of my best friends. We were hanging out at the fair yesterday, and we were like people watching and just like shooting the shit, talking shit. And I realized I was like, yo, man, I love you so much. You're like one of my best friends, and you're my girlfriend too. It's so fucking cool. But I admire her so much. I would never, even if there is like, which she doesn't have. I will add in. If there's little tidbits about her that like frustrated me, or like, oh, I wish she didn't do that, or I would never disrespect her by bringing that up in front of people. What the fuck? That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
The,
Oh yeah.
The level of disrespect is insane, man. Yeah, it's That's crazy. That's nuts. I can't even wrap my head around it.
Oh yeah, dude, trust me. And I like working in the construction industry. Like that's what you get all the time is like guys sitting there that talking about their partners, like, oh, the old ball and chain, like like my bitch, like da 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 da. And you're like,
Insane.
dude, your life must be miserable if that's what you go home to
Yeah,
every
what the
day,
fuck?
man.
That's yeah, that's insane. Then like, where was I going with this? I had an idea. Fuck, I lost it for a second. Damn.
Give you a second.
Yeah, see if I can pull it back. Pull it back. Yeah, okay, here we go. So, social media made it about where like with like no consequences or no ideas of like the reflection, like people made social media has made two people comfortable like airing your dirty laundry. And then you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
there's like I mean, everybody has stuff that happens in their family or with their partners. Like everyone has like a bit of an ugly background or stuff. But with family, you can talk about your own. But some shit that say, I don't know, I'm just going to make up some fucking, say my Uncle Ernest robbed a fucking bank.
Mm-hmm.
I would never go tell everybody about my Uncle Ernest that robbed a bank. You know what I mean? That's just who what I am. But social media has made everyone comfortable that you can just air your problems out, and then they go into your workplace and doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like going for coffee, and then they're just gossiping about other people, especially people that are close to them. Man, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, yo, man, if you're not happy with your partner, leave.
Yeah, yeah. I think part of it is like because before social media, you could go to work and like talk to like the same like group of people, like 5, maybe 6, depending on how big your workplace is, and you like say whatever you need to say, and then people like some people will be like, oh, that's kind of fucked up, but they don't say anything,
Yeah.
or someone might call you out, and like it's just like kind of like a temporary feeling, like you're like pissed off at your girl, whatever, and like you come and vent or whatever it is. And it's like a temporary thing because you just say it then and there, and then either people hear it or they don't. You know, and now it's like with social media, it's like, no, that's all archived, man. Like,
Yeah,
people got
it's out
record,
there.
and like thousands of people can see it, not just like the 5 people you work with anymore. Like,
No, man.
it's
Crazy.
nuts. I remember like when I first started this podcast, I was like, I don't want to be like one of those people that just comes on and like bitches about my problems. And I remember saying like, I don't ever want to air my dirty laundry out, but I want to be able to explain how I cleaned it.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, because I think it is valuable to be able to say, like, hey, this is where I fucked up, or like, yeah, I can admit, yeah, like my in my relationship, we do have arguments sometimes. We do have like disagreements.
Of course.
But
Yeah,
like, I'm not going to
absolutely.
talk about the disagreement while we're having it. We're going to discuss it. We're going to figure it out, and then I can present it and be like, yeah, I fucked up in this way, and there was this misunderstanding, or whatever it could be, and like that's how we overcame it.
Yeah.
We're good.
Which is a beautiful way to go about it. You think about it to the contrast of that. Like you'll see somebody always, and there's like memes about it and everything. You'll see somebody like airing their dirty laundry about their stuff with their partner actively over social media, and then like the next day or a week later, whatever it is, they like post a pic and they're like, "I love you so much." Da, 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 da. You know what I mean? And you always look at it and you're always like, you give it the face. You know what face I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why it's important to privacy. Privacy, I guess, would be the thing that people need to be a little more private about their matters.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, dang, dude. Like moving forward, have you already like gotten your real estate license? You're getting into the game, or
no, I haven't got my real estate license. I'm not getting in the game right now. I'm just trying to like understand the markets a little better. I mean, right now the market's crazy. I mean, the market's always crazy. The economy is a crazy thing. Money. So I'll try and stay on topic for a second. But no, so right now I'm just trying to understand it better, and I'm just saving up money. My idea is I want to buy a building. That's the first one I want to do. A lot of people like are just happy with like buying a home, which being a homeowner is fantastic. I'm not knocking it at all, but they want to buy a home, and that's their investment property. So they say they buy a home. You buy a home in Vancouver, you're in debt like $1 million or $2 million, whatever it is, because the market's wild. So you're paying your mortgage. You get some tenants, they come in, it's all working good. Say you're making like maybe $300 profit at the end of it all a month. Then say something happens with the roof and you got to replace the whole damn roof. That costs you $20,000.
Oh, yeah.
So depending how long you were the homeowner, say you've only been a homeowner for 3 years, you got to replace the roof. So you're $200 a month. You times that by 12 months, that's $2,400. So 24, 48, 72, 70. So you made $7,200 in 3 years. Now you got to replace the roof. You're out like $13,000. You know what I mean? So my idea is, say save up a good chunk of change. Put your letter of intent, buy a building that has like multiple units into it. So ideally, maybe like a small condominium. It has like 30 or 40 units into it. Buy that. Your profits are increased. You get some partnerships, business partners to come in, whatever, do the deal, and then you have like that steady cash flow coming in. And then you own 40 units. You don't just own one.
Mm-hmm. That's gangster, dude. What's the timeline on that, you think?
By the time I'm 35, I want to have multiple buildings. So my first building will be within 3 years. Yeah, my first building will be within 3 years.
Dude, that's so gangster. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I appreciate 100% what you're saying about, like, you got to replace the roof. That's 20 grand, because that's literally my line of work.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, I'm the guy you call when you need to
you got to fix your fucking roof.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, man, I know how much that shit goes up. And, like, as much as real estate's booming, as much as all that's booming, like, it's not like materials are going down either. Like,
No, man.
lumber prices are going through the roof.
Yeah.
Like, glass. There's certain materials that we have to tell customers, like, yeah, this is outside of my control. You're going to have to wait like 6 months for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They're like, what? We won't have a shower door for months? You're like,
yeah, dude.
glass is hard to get.
Sorry, bro. It is what it is. Yeah. And all markets face that supply and demand. There's a lot of supply and demand issues right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get into that.
We can totally get into that if you want. Yo, I will tell everybody I am a conspiracy theorist. I like to call it a conspiracy realist because too many things have been proven real lately. But yeah, totally. So we can get into that a little bit.
I got yelled at a family barbecue the other day for spouting conspiracy theories, man. So I love that, dude. Let's get into it.
Alrighty. Well, you go ahead. You lead me into it. Let's go off of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where we can touch on first, man, because I've kind of thought about recently, like I've been thinking about, because I've been trying to tune out of, like I said, I've been on following everybody as much as 300 people a day, you know, like that's pretty much where I'm at. So like I've been trying to get out of it, but I know for me, what I've been focusing on recently is just kind of the principles that are being removed from our society, and I believe it's on purpose. Like that's the way I look at it. Like somebody posted this thing the other day where they were talking about like who won World War II, and they were like, well, obviously the Allies. Like we're all here still.
No, the banks won World War II, bro.
Yeah. Well, what they were saying was like it was the communists, and the way that they're explaining it is like it's subversion, incognito subversion, like getting rid of kind of the protector in society, getting rid of like the alpha male, and then starting to implement things within like the educational systems. And it's like I'm sure you listen to Joe Rogan the same way I do with it. They talk about like the Chinese version of TikTok where they're like promoting like businesses, they're promoting
business,
like
mathematics and shit.
Yeah.
And on this side, everyone's shaking their ass.
Yeah, like I said,
it's
man,
fucking
like,
mental.
I'm looking at like tits and asses on Instagram, and I'm like, dude, I need to get rid of this.
And like, it doesn't even matter. Like, Instagram's a little more forgiving, but I don't even have TikTok. I ended up deleting it. I probably should reinstall it because the algorithms on TikTok for business.
Yeah.
The algorithms on TikTok are super favorable for business, but no matter who I follow, and when I was following TikTok, I'm pretty sure I followed like 4 people. One was like a chef, one was a martial arts guy, one was my cousin, and then I think the other one was Jason Derulo. Because he danced. I like the way he dances. He's fucking sick. I was a big fan. But beside that point, no matter what, the algorithms just bring up like recommended for you. It's just like some super thoughty video, and I'm just like, I don't understand how the algorithms are like bringing that to my attention because I'm even following it. Yeah, it's a weird concept, man. But then and then over in China, they're getting mathematics and business and
scientific
arts, literature, music, all the shit that I actually want to see. I want to see that shit.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I wish I was pumped with that information all the time.
Ideal, mostly ideal. Yeah, man. Yeah, Western society is plagued with it's fucking the over sexualization of everything, man. It's ridiculous. It's not good. It's very bad.
That's just like one aspect of it too, though. Like it's like kind of like everything's being labeled. Like it's so crazy because you look at the news and everything that they like condemn is like everything that we should be going towards. I feel like everything that they like saying like, well, you shouldn't speak up, you shouldn't say this, like you should tote the line, like kind of thing. And it's like, well, how are we supposed to filter out bad ideas if we don't get to say them?
Of course, yeah. PC culture, man. This PC culture is what it is. try to wrap my head around the whole thing. It's too much. It's degenerative. Yeah. Like you said, how are we supposed to, if we can't speak out about it, how are we supposed to direct where we want to go as a society? And really, it's like I think a lot of people would agree that it's not going the way it should be going, but it's a really small group of people that are directing it the negative way that it is going, and they've created this system that's like you're scared to speak out against. Like, we'll use masks. We'll use fucking masks as an example to talk about this one. Let's go into it. So a lot of people believe masks work. There's science out there that say it does work. There's science that says it doesn't work. I personally think it's stupid. This little cloth thing is going to stop tiny virus particles. That's absolutely ridiculous. And if I'm not sick, why does it matter? So everyone's walking around rocking them anyways. But a small group of people created this idea that if you don't think everybody should be wearing a mask, you're an anti-maxer. This small group of people took this anti-masker concept and somehow made it as it has as much as an impact on what society thinks of you as if you're an anti-vaxxer, so to speak. And it's crazy that a small group of people through this PC culture created all these ideals around this anti-masker concept, and created this generic idea in society that people are afraid to touch on it. Like, some people just like wear it because they don't want to get, like, they don't want the headaches or the issues. I don't want people yelling at me when I go into a superstore or whatever, so they just go along with it. And there's other people that are literally scared of the concept of being labeled as an anti-masker, which is insane, man. It's so stupid.
Dude, it's nuts. It's like, I mean, I personally, like, I went to school for construction, and they teach you about different types of masks and, like, when to use different, like, applications of masks. And, like, there's a reason you couldn't use, like, one of those cloth masks, or even, like, one of those, like, blue fucking fabric. I don't even know what that fabric is. Apparently, it's, like, some sort of, like, static electricity that, like, gathers fucking... I don't know what the science behind it is.
Yeah.
But there's a reason we don't use it for, like, drywall removal.
Right.
And, like, it doesn't even stop visible dust particles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and I'm supposed to be convinced that it's stopping microscopic things, but the funny thing is you're 100% right, man, because a lot of my friends, like, they're like, oh, I don't agree with the mask mandates. I don't agree with, and we don't even have mask mandates right now anymore, but they're probably going to come back, and it's like, man, they don't agree with it, but like you said, like, oh, I'll wear one so, like, my kids don't have to deal with, like, blah, 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 or I'll wear one so that like, I can just go and buy my groceries quickly, and it's like, dude, like, you could just say no. Like, literally just say no.
And it's... what else is interesting is, like, this small group of people, the powers that be, whatever you want to refer to them, have made such a serious issue over a tiny piece of cloth.
Oh, dude, and you hear about, like, the quote-unquote small fringe minority.
Yeah.
And for people that are listening, I'm doing air quotes as I say that, but it's like, for the most part, you talk to, like, 80% of people, and they're like, yeah, I don't really give a fuck. Yeah. I've really only met, like, probably in the last, like, 3 years of this whole madness, I've met, like, maybe 6 people that are like, you have to wear it or you're the devil, or you don't care about old people, kind of thing. Like,
you don't care about old people.
Yeah,
oh my God.
dude.
You're a grandma killer if you don't wear a mask.
Yeah, dude.
You killed 10,000 grandmas today because you didn't wear your mask.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
But it's like, dude, that's the small fringe minority. Like, you know what I mean? But they're just so loud that it's like, it seems kind of scarier, even though, like, the most, like, there's, like, people like you and I who, like, I feel like maybe our views may be uncommon. Like, it's probably, like, if I had to throw random numbers out, maybe 30%, 40% that have a strong disagreement with it.
Right.
But I'd say the majority of people don't give a fuck. Right. They're like, I just want to live. I just want to not be yelled at, and I just want to be able to go to work, make my money, and not have people fucking scream at me. Like, that's it.
Right.
I feel like that's, like, the majority of people, and it's like, yo, we could all just live like that.
Yeah.
You know, none of us have to be fucked with if we just say no once.
100%. And it's interesting, like, if we had the same conversation, if future us came back in, like, 2017, 2018, even, like, 2019, was like, yo, man, there's going to be a giant social dilemma around wearing a mask or not. We'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? That's so insignificant. That's stupid. No, there's way larger issues. There's way more important things to, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
here we are now, and we're literally talking about it in this podcast because it's become such a serious social issue.
Yeah,
Insane.
like
Insanity.
it's funny because you're like, like suicide overdose rates have gone through the roof in Vancouver here. Like if you want to just talk local news, and then like
Drastically.
insane.
12 to 1. 12 to, if I remember what this number, but it's 12 to 1 of like COVID to like overdose.
Yeah,
And
I'd
all
buy
like
that.
the mental health effects that came from COVID restrictions.
I know more people in the last like 3 years that have died from overdose or suicide than I have. I actually don't think I've met a single person that's died from COVID. Maybe with COVID, I know like a couple of old people that I've heard about.
Yeah.
But I mean, like legitimately from COVID. Actually, I did meet my first person actually this week. I can't say it completely unbiased. I did meet one person this week who's like around our age who was hospitalized by COVID.
Right.
But like in 3 years,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I've had, I could count on both hands. Like I've got like friends that have died from suicide, overdose, and even in the past 10 years, like even family members, and it's like, that's just local stuff.
Yeah.
You talk about like increased rates of homelessness. You talk about wars going on across like, Ukraine and Russia. Definitely something that should be talked about. Definitely something you should keep our eye on. But like, what about what's happening in Venezuela? What about what's
Yeah.
happening in other countries? Like
Yeah.
all of this stuff is going on.
Socialism did a great job in Venezuela, ladies and gentlemen. Venezuela is a world-leading example of why socialism is awesome, and we should 100% let it happen
And
in
give away
countries,
guns.
in other countries.
And give away guns.
Take away guns. It's so stupid. What a concept, man. They want to take away your guns. They want to take away your right to defend yourself. This is so dumb. Oh, man. And there's people that say that that's a good idea, man. It's so stupid.
Dude,
It's so dumb. There's 1,000,010 fucking examples about why you shouldn't take guns away or weapons away from the civilians. Holy fuck.
But dude, have you heard about masks?
Oh my god. But dude, have you heard about masks?
That's
oh
the
my
best
god.
part. That's where I'm going with it. It's like
Yeah.
there's all of these things that like people are literally dying from.
But it's crazy that the government would like pump so much money into their you know what I mean? They would pump so much
propaganda,
money
you
into
mean?
the propaganda, into the mask, into the labels, into all that shit when there's so many larger issues that actually affect more than it was in 98, more than 98% of the people that they come across, but they don't.
Yeah. Bro, there's this beautiful documentary on Netflix. I watch it because I have when I'm not doing jiu-jitsu, like say like on a day like today or like holidays with the gym's closed, I have like dumbbells here. I have like a pull-up bar. I've got bands. I do home workouts, and I watch Netflix while I do my home workouts, dude. There's this beautiful documentary. It's called Hitler's Inner Circle, and they literally explain not just like how Hitler rose, but like all the people around him and like the people that managed like the propaganda and how they managed the economy at the time and what they were manufacturing at the time, and like literally everything to a T. They break down like, who was leading the military at the time and how was that being discussed in the public eye. And just in terms of the propaganda, it's literally identical to the stuff that you're hearing about today in terms of the division between races, the division between genders, the division between, should these people be in the workforce? Should these people be kind of allowed to even be living in our society? Or are these people a threat to the rest of society? Like there's all these different fucking things that they talk about. And it's like, I'm watching this with my girl and I'm like, yo, do you feel like there's any parallelism between this,
Yeah.
like what we're seeing right now?
And then you have a group of people, and they're ultimately the same. Like the what do you want? I guess you want to call it the social implications of these systems are the same. Just the outcomes are a little different. Like obviously, we're not fucking stupid guys. We know that the fucking Holocaust is not happening right now,
Yeah.
and they're not exterminating people by the tens of millions. Yeah, we're not fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
So people want to discredit the social implications of that system because it's different, and then there's like 8 million people not dying. But it's the idea of what could happen when all these social implications are like in the place, and it does.
Well, not even just that, but they talk about like the only reason why like these far right people like the Nazis were able to come into power was because right after the First World War there was so many far left people in power in certain places in Europe where people were like kind of fed up with the like how it was impacting the economy, how it was impacting them socially, how it was impacting them in so many different ways. Like the only way, like I'm not, like I said, like I agree with you. I'm not saying that there's fucking gas chambers and Holocaust
Of course
happening right
not.
now.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is we're opening the door for later evil.
Yeah.
Like people only get to that when they get so pissed off with what there is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, man, the more you kind of look at those things, like even when you watch shows like everyone's watching Peaky Blinders right now.
No.
Like, dude, they
Great
literally
fucking show, by the way.
I know,
I
I'm
haven't seen
obsessed
it.
with it.
I haven't seen it. My girls watched it twice.
Dude, I told my girl I'll rewatch it if you start watching it. Like
Sick.
it's so fucking good. But
okay.
they literally display like how fascism was rising after the First World War, like how all these different kind of parties even started to get traction, how like workers' unions started off, and how all of these different things started popping off. And man, it's the more you pay attention to these things, and then when you hear about them in real life, you're like, man, that's not really a great idea. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
the other day they were saying, fucking Jagmeet Singh, the NDP leader, is like,
Fuck that guy, man.
dude,
What a sellout.
He says
My
to
goodness.
combat inflation, he wants to give everyone $1,000. Bro, how do we get this inflation in the first place?
We did this already. This was called CERB.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This was called CERB. That didn't work out too good, man. Oh my god.
Bro, it's
Oh,
fucking
man.
insane.
The level of sheer stupidity, man, it just fucking stresses me out. You guys can't see this or are just listening that aren't getting the visuals right now, but I just have my head in my hands. And
Just
I'm like,
face
oh
palm.
my god, dude. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. That's what it is. How did it amazes me that as a species we inherited the earth because some of the shit we do is so dumb.
But the one thing that I've been trying to remind myself, so this is on like to kind of, because we do get kind of into doom and gloom. Like I get into
Yeah,
that shit,
100%,
dude, and
yeah.
I share the stuff I share on Instagram. Even me, like I fall victim to it, like where I share like the kind of like anger clickbait, like kind of like
Yeah.
the stuff that pisses me off. And the one thing I've been trying to remind myself with, there's this book called Ordinary Men. Have you heard of that book?
I haven't. No.
So Ordinary Men, they talk about basically how someone goes from just being like a regular person, because we look at, you know, people like these Nazis, or we look at like all these people and we're like, we're not that,
Yeah.
because like fuck that, that's evil. Like that's the
Yeah.
way I feel internally. I'm like, those people are fucking monsters.
Yeah.
And then it's like you take a step back and you realize these are men.
Yeah.
Like they bleed red. They're regular people. Like they're the same people. Like they have lungs. They breathe through. They have a beating heart.
They were born. They were kids.
They
They
had
were teenagers.
mothers.
They
Yeah.
had mothers. They lived. They laughed. They loved. They hurt. They played sports.
Yeah, dude.
They
And so
scraped their knee when they were running around outside as a kid, and
Yeah.
they drank water from the hose. They did all the same shit we did. Yeah, man, 100%.
and that's the one thing I've been trying to think of recently, is like all these people that kind of piss me off in society. All of these people, like I'm trying my best to see myself in them. Like, oh, this is someone that's operating out of fear. This is someone that's operating out of terror. Like and I'm not trying to justify any of their actions. What I'm trying to do is understand and not divide society even further.
Right.
Because that's where I found myself. Like I got to the point where like, and I'm sure you've had these exact same thoughts. You're driving down the street and you're like maybe going to the gym or you're going to grab groceries or whatever, and you get cut off by someone and you fucking come up, you pull up beside them and they're wearing a mask by themselves in their car,
Yeah.
and you're like, yo, fuck this idiot.
Yeah,
and
you stupid
and then
fuck every time.
But you have
Yeah.
to, like, I've been trying to remind myself, like, it's like, bro, that's someone who's fucking terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. They were fucking spoon-fed the Kool-Aid, and it sucks. It's hard to see because especially in the information age, there's so much information out there. There's guys like us, or even people like us in more financial and socially powerful positions speaking out against it. But the propaganda has been so strong against it. They're like, they don't want to listen to the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one of the things I made this post, I think it was like last year. I was like, if your favorite people, like the celebrities and the people you look up to, aren't talking about these current events in an honest way, they're sellouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I know, like, so many people that have, like, literally jeopardized their entire career to just be like, can we ask this question?
Yeah.
Like the Aaron Rodgers of the world, or like
Yep.
all of those people where they're like, hey, how about this? And
Yeah.
it's like, no,
Yeah.
they just get condemned and shot down
They
instantly.
get lit up by the bots on Twitter, or the former bots on Twitter.
Yeah,
Now that Elon Musk has taken it over,
there's no more bots now.
there's no more bots.
But yeah, but that anyways, this book Ordinary Men, that's where I was going.
Yeah,
on.
that's where you're
This
going.
book
Yeah, yeah.
Ordinary Men, it talks about how like people were like these average cops, and they get brought in, and it's like step by step, uh like one of the guy's stories is like, okay, first they had to like witness someone murdering someone, and then like obviously a Jew, and he's like going home, and they like describe like he's like going home, and these are like real accounts, like he's like going home throwing up, vomiting, like sick to his stomach, like telling his wife he's gonna fucking kill himself, like because he's seeing his comrades do all this shit. And then the next time it's like one of his friends does it, and then the next time it's like his boss is basically saying like, look, if you don't do this, this is how your women are going to be treated. Like if you don't do this, this is going to be done to your family. Like you have to start doing. And then it's like one step further, one step further, one step further, until this guy's literally pulling the trigger himself, and then telling other people to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It's a fucking insane book, dude. It's absolutely fucked.
I'll have to check that
And
out.
dude, it will literally depress you, because it's like,
Yeah, like,
I'm not even joking.
What the fuck?
I'm not even joking you, because you start to realize like all of these people that, you know, the people that we're looking at, like say like the people that control the media, or the people that are reacting to the media differently than us, like you start to see yourself like in them. You're like, holy shit, like these are people that are literally just, because there's times that I've made decisions that I look back on and I'm like, I fucking regret that.
Yeah.
And I like
That's being human, man. We
Dude.
all do that.
Yeah. And one of the things I always ask myself, like, was I being proactive or reactive? Like, was I being reactive to my environment? And then I'm like, okay, was I reacting to a trigger? Like, was this like because of a past trauma that I have? Like, is this, and I start to ask all these questions about my own behavior. And it's like, dude, 90% of the time, we're either acting out of like, it's basically, yeah, actually 100% of the time, we're either acting out of confidence or terror. Like, we're either fucking scared, or we're like, okay, we're confident. And I've been asking myself, like, how do I feel more confident then?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I
how
do,
do
I do.
And it's like, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, give me a timeout. I got to use the washroom real quick, and
Yeah,
I
no-
have a very fascinating concept that'll relay on.
We're back from our washroom.
Back from our washroom break. Have you ever? Are you into Scientology at all?
I've heard of it, and I know a little bit about it. The only thing I know about it is a lot of the donating money stuff. That's all I really know.
Okay,
That's all I really know about.
Scientologists are very generous. They love to donate to their charities. What I was gonna go off of, you talked about like the reactive mind. So there's a book called Dianetics, written by L. Ron Hubbard, who's the founder of Scientology, and it talks about the reactive mind and how during trauma responses, your body records information, and then later on that can cause like outlandish reactions, behaviors, whatever it may be. And I'll give you an example here. So there's a woman, and this is a visual they actually give in their video, if I'm remembering the visual. I haven't watched it in a while. I need to listen to the audio program while I'm harping here about it. But this woman is a server, and she's carrying a glass full of trays, and somehow she like hit her head, or she fell, hit her head, knocked unconscious. So obviously that's a very traumatic experience, traumatic brain injury. The body's recording these reactions. So now, from the glasses breaking, now whenever she hears glasses breaking, back fast forward 6 months, 1 year, whatever it is, and every time she hears a glass break, she gets like a headache. But she can't relate the two. The glass could just break, and then she's like, oh, I got a headache all of a sudden. So you had a headache from the concussion. Your mind associated that with the sound of glass breaking, because she dropped the glasses while she was serving. So now every time glass breaks, she's like, oh, I got a headache. So now she's like, whatever the behaviors that stem off of that. But the initial is that's the reactive mind. That's how the mind reacted. So Dianetics taps into that. And then what a big, like Scientology is a big thing, but what they have, this thing is they call it auditing. So auditing helps break through trauma responses like that. And basically what they do is, I haven't done any auditing yet, and I want to. And all my favorite humans that I'm surrounded with in life have done a form of auditing. But what they do is they have this machine, and my lady actually has done quite a bit of auditing. She hooked me up to this machine to test it. So you put your you grab these two like metal prods, and what they do is they detect like electric magnetic like pulses. What happens then? She pinched me, and then it has this radar that reads stress response. So that's how it works. So I've seen how it works. So what they do when they're auditing is they sit you down.
Isn't that how like lie detectors work?
I don't know actually.
Sorry, onward.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good concept.
Someone
I don't know.
Google that and get back to us.
Yeah, let us know. Maury, shout out to the Maury show, man. Some childhood memories. That shit was hilarious. Anyways, so you're hooked up to this machine. You have like an auditor, and you work through like past trauma experiences. And what it does, they ask you questions. They ask you questions in relation to whatever trauma you're trying to get over. The radar goes off, and then they ask you more questions. So it's like really advanced counseling, but they make you work your way through it. They're not like some like cookie cutter shrink from some Ivy League school where they like then try and direct you on what you should do in your life, because that can be fucking horrible advice. But what they do is the auditing with Scientology, they make you talk your way through it, and they make you work through it. It's really a wonderful process, man. But back to how we brought this up, the Reactive Mind. Yeah, the book of Dianetics, L. Ron Hubbard. Check it out, man. It's fucking fascinating.
I will. We're learning all the secrets now. But dude, it's funny you bring that up, because even there's like that process of auditing is literally like how I've been trying to work through like even past traumas that I've dealt with recently, like just by literally writing these things out. Like and dude, ever since I quit smoking weed, dude, I've had the craziest fucking dreams ever. And one of the dreams that I had was literally about like part of my childhood, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Sick.
It's like part of like memories that I don't even really remember that I had. But like when I write down these things afterwards, when I wake up, it's like, and yeah, I don't even really remember if this is a memory that I had, or it's like an implanted memory, or like I'm just thinking about this thing from like maybe my perception of childhood. You know what I mean? But it's like, why is this here? You know, like why is that in my brain, man? And even like I'd go as far to say like that even relates to I just had a firefighter on the podcast who's telling me about like kind of some of the trauma that he's gone through, and we didn't really go dig too much into like the traumatic events, but one of the processes that he did was ketamine therapy.
Interesting.
And going through like a guided ketamine experience where he's like put on ketamine, and it's like kind of like to a psychedelic point, and then someone's sitting there asking him questions about certain things, and you know there's other things that come up where when your ego is obliterated by psychedelics, like anything that's happening like that, you start to give answers that you wouldn't normally give because you don't care. Like there's like you know that facade or that mask that we wear socially, that where it's like you're not concerned about what this person thinks of you anymore. Like you start to actually answer the questions very honestly, like you would never have answered them sober. Or that's my understanding of how the therapy works. I'm probably butchering it completely, but it relates exactly to what you're saying, to me at least.
I was just gonna say, I didn't know. This is actually the first of me hearing about ketamine therapy. Very interesting. But I'm a big advocate for psilocybin therapy.
Yeah.
Psilocybin, yeah. Magic mushrooms, man. And mushrooms have been like, I don't know about ketamine. Ketamine's relatively new as far as I know. I think
dude, it's all these things have barely been studied in North America because half this shit's illegal. But I think ketamine therapy has just been like
it's a fucking horse tranquilizer, right? But what's it derived from?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, because mushrooms, like mushrooms are more organic compound. Like it's from magic mushrooms. It's in the fucking name. It's from a mushroom.
Yeah.
So it's more naturally grown, albeit it's grown in like I think poo shit. I think.
Cow shit.
Cow shit. Yeah, I think. But nonetheless, you get a more organic compound And I'm a big advocate for that because obviously it can work. I've used it myself.
Yeah, I've had a few experiences myself, man.
Off of like some of the concussions and the brain injuries I've achieved. I've achieved through mixed martial arts that I've accumulated through mixed martial arts. And I've done like there's obviously there's better and or there's other, I don't know about better, but there's great systems out there for recovering from traumatic brain injuries. But I did feel a great boost from magic mushrooms myself. Yes. And another example I will bring up, and I was just watching this. He did a thing with a doctor the other day, and I'm not going to remember the doctor's name or the hockey player's name.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
He played
for the Chicago Blackhawks.
Won 2 chips.
Three
Stanley
chips. Cups.
He won 3 chips, had 7 traumatic brain injuries. Retired in 2015.
Danny Carcillo, I think his name is.
Danny Carcillo. I'm going to grab my phone and look it up right now.
You can. My phone's recording this, so True. You can. Actually, I have my computer in front of me, but I'm 99% sure you're talking about Danny Carcillo. He was a player for the Blackhawks. And the only reason I remember that is because I used to be a huge Chicago Blackhawks fan when I used to watch sports.
Mm-hmm.
But, dude, yeah, he's been the subject of CTE.
That's him. Yeah, yes. That's him. Danny Carcillo.
Dude.
Yeah, shout out Danny Carcillo, man. You're a fucking beauty. Yeah, that guy would thump dudes out playing hockey, man.
Oh, yeah.
Thumping dudes out.
Oh, yeah.
What a hard motherfucker,
but
man.
Bro,
Sick.
Talk about concussions. There's this interview, and I literally, it's like comes up in my Facebook memories because I've shared it so many times.
Yeah.
And every year, I literally just shared it like a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. The exact video I think you're probably talking about, where he says in the video, I don't even remember winning the Stanley Cup, and I've done it 3 times.
That's crazy. Yeah, because he retired early. What was it? He was in 2015.
I think so.
Right? Yeah, 2015, 2019. And this guy has wonderful children. He has, by his account, he has a beautiful wife. He has a nice car. He has a nice house. And he has fucking 3 Stanley Cup titles. This guy was going to kill himself, bro.
Dude, he doesn't even remember. Like, could you imagine if I was sitting here telling you, like, bro, you said 19 professional fights, like, whatever it was, and you're like, I don't even remember doing that.
No clue. No idea. It's fucking insane. And then he tried everything in the book short of, I don't think he tried stem cells. I'm a big advocate for stem cells too, but that's another conversation we can get into or continue on with. But what his is in 2019, he tried his first dose of magic mushrooms with a shaman. He did 5 grams, which is a little closer to a heroic dose. After his first 5 grams, he saw significant concussion. And for those that don't know, this guy tried literally everything in the books, down to therapies that I can't even remember the names for. Think about how much money this guy had. He's going to all the institutes in the United States, which has some really great medical care, and nothing's working.
And you got to think, like, the NHL is trying to cover their ass too. Like,
yeah, 100%.
They're paying for half this shit because they don't want a bad name. Man.
Yeah, Fuck no, of course they don't. It's terrible for business.
Yeah, exactly.
It's dramatic. It's detrimental to business. No, you don't want that at all. Nothing worked. This guy does 5 grams of magic mushrooms, gets on a microdosing protocol after that. He's good. He's literally good now.
Like, you mean memories back, everything? Or like, what do you mean by he's good?
He's good. Like, he doesn't.
Gotta say, by the way, not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
I'm definitely not a doctor. Yeah.
But onward.
Yeah. So post-concussion symptoms. Oh my God. It took me 3 times to get that out. My bad. But so he had severe brain fog, light sensitivity, motion sickness, headaches, nausea, nonstop for 4 years. Nothing worked. Nothing made it worse. And then obviously his hormones are off. Like, we want to get down to the science of it all. Like, his free testosterone was like way out of whack. Everything was bad. No matter what the doctors tried, it just wasn't working for him. So he went to the shaman, he did his 5-gram dose, and he saw a severe reduction in symptoms right away, and then followed it up for the next, I think he said 6 months, if I remember correctly. For the next 6 months, he was on a microdosing protocol. So for those that don't know, a microdose is it's like generally I find it's like 0.2 of a gram, but it's a little dose of psilocybin that you take that doesn't give you the psychedelic effects that would, like, say, a more heroic dose, like a 5-gram dose. And all his concussion symptoms subsided.
That's nuts,
within 6 months.
I've had shout-outs. We're doing a couple shout-outs this week, but shout-outs to Patrick Koo. He's been on the podcast before as well. He's one of the smartest guys I know. He's a kinesiologist. He lives in Richmond here. and he helped me rehab my foot when I fractured my heel.
Okay. Beauty.
But him and I bond over concussions because
Right.
we've had so many together. And he's going through hell right now, kind of rehabbing his last concussion to the point where, like, he says walking hurts because, like, the
Yeah.
impact of, like,
Right.
just walking
The
shoots up the
vibrations.
brain. Exactly. And he is huge into studying like maps, like the medical application. I can't remember what MAPS stands for, but he would definitely be laughing at me right now for bringing this up without even knowing that. But basically, the study of psychedelics and how they actually help us out in a medical way.
Right.
He introduced me to kind of different ideas of. And I don't condone taking drugs, people, but he introduced me to different ideas of like microdosing LSD, microdosing mushrooms. Like I was wondering, do you think like acid or LSD might have similar impacts that way? Because I've only ever done mushrooms like I'd say like 3 or 4 times, and 2 of them were like camping out in the woods, kind of like recreational.
Yeah.
And then 2 of them were with like close friends. We're sitting there, and like I had like immaculate results. Like it was one of the experiences that helped me get out of a toxic relationship I was in. Excuse me. It helped me quit smoking cigarettes. Like I remember the day that I did this massive dose, I didn't smoke a cigarette the entire day, and I was like smoking a pack a day at the point.
Goddamn.
And I didn't smoke a cigarette the entire day. I didn't have the urge to. I didn't even feel like. And then I remember when I sobered up, I was like, wow, I can't believe like I didn't even have the urge like at all. And then after that, like I've obviously smoked cigarettes here and there since, but since then, like there was never like the habit of doing it. You know, like it's like that was the day there was like the addiction was just gone. That specific addiction for me. Obviously, I fell back into doing other addictions like smoking weed and shit, but the I'm wondering because I've never done acid to that point. I've only ever done microdose of LSD, and it's kind of just through education through my a buddy of mine. And I'm wondering, do you think that LSD or these other psychedelic properties or drugs might have the same benefits as mushrooms, or like,
So
what's your take
from
on
what I've
that?
seen online, medically written papers behind it, I believe that they can. I personally have no experience with LSD or acid, or have really dived into the study of it much. But I've heard from people. I have actually a teammate of mine who did like a bunch of boxing when he was a teenager, and then same had a bunch of concussions, had severe traumatic brain injury from boxing. And by the time he was 19, he had migraines every day for like hours on every day. And so what he does, and this is, again, this is not medical information, which I can't believe we need to have a discretion about that. But
To be honest, I just kind of find it funny to say that.
I know,
I just
yeah,
really
it's
like
kinda
saying
like-
it 'cause
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like not a doctor.
yeah, he uses acid, LSD and acid. Are they the same fucking thing?
In my eyes, I don't know if there's a difference,
I
but
don't
I
know
just
either.
say them like
Yeah.
they're synonymous.
Yeah. So he uses it once a month, and he has
Like
no
a big dose or like a
I don't know.
microdose.
I don't know.
or-
I never asked him. He just told me that. I guess there would be doses of acid. I never thought about that concept. Sorry, a little off topic, but
like little tabs. Like the thing is, like one of the times I did it, like I took like a quarter of a tab,
Right.
and I don't know what the dosage was or anything like that, but I just ran a marathon, literally. Not
Wild.
even fucking joking you. Like 42 kilometers. I tracked it on my phone,
holy shit.
and I fucking ran a marathon. It took me like 5.5 hours. Like
So that's crazy. Yeah, I imagine the application could be there, especially from. I mean, there's testifying accounts from people that it does work, but ultimately. And I'm going to speak to the other side of the coin here. Consuming any foreign substance that alters your state of consciousness is not good. Right. Really at all. And you ever heard Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he talks about like
he's one of the reasons why I want to quit smoking weed.
Yeah. He talks about how like you can achieve all that on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need like through meditation and healthy practices and stuff. So I think we need to hit that point for the benefits of it all. But obviously when we're talking like back to like a case like Danny went through, he needed something a little more to help pull himself out of that. But yeah, so I believe responsibly, very responsibly, it can be applied to people very well. But like with anything, too much of anything or abuse of anything is bad. That you can literally drink too much water and die. So I think people are inclined to hear about the benefits of this, and then they're just gonna like go and abuse it, which I don't advocate for.
Yeah, I know. Even the other day when I was having my little mental breakdown, I was like sitting with my girlfriend and my dad. I'm like, I think I need a shroom trip, man. And my girlfriend's like, I think that's the last thing you need right now.
Yeah.
Like, your biggest problem is escaping reality.
Yeah.
Like, you need to fucking live in reality for a little while, man.
Yeah.
Like, so like that's I agree with you completely. Like it's there's so many things. Like even with like my concussion symptoms, like I think I'm at like 6 concussions now, and I'm at the point.
Bad ones?
I wouldn't say bad ones, but like knocking my head on concrete kind of thing, or those types. Even like I had one of them was like car accident, airbag knocked me out.
Oh shit! Yeah, that one's pretty bad. If you lose consciousness, that's generally a pretty bad one.
Yeah. So like, there's been a couple of them where I've lost consciousness. Even like, dude, I get these weird panic attacks. I've only had probably like 2 or 3 of them, where I'll literally just lose consciousness and I'll just drop. And I'll like smack my head on the ground kind of thing. And I'd say for me, like, because talking to my buddy Patrick or talking to like other people that have had concussions, I feel like everyone gets different symptoms from them.
I think they do, yeah.
Like for me, my biggest thing is memory loss. Like I don't have the whole thing. Like I can run, no problem. I have no fucking issues with impact. I have no problem with that. Like playing sports or anything like that. That I haven't had those physical side effects of like concussions. For me, it's always like mental things. Like I get like you could bring up a time like remember the first time we met, and I'd be like, bro, I thought this was the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd be like fucking start panicking and anxious, and I'm like, what the fuck don't I remember? You know, like, and I get in these weird loopholes in my brain, and like for me, that's how it impacts me. But like have you had like more like the physical stuff?
Mine's the physical. So like brain fog and like sensitivity to vibrations is the ones that I've noticed the most.
Brain fog for sure. Yeah,
brain fog's fucking whack, bro. That shit's annoying shit to deal with. It's interesting.
Again, another reason why I wanted to quit smoking weed, man.
Another thing that this is a lot of these are trauma responses. Again, this leads back to the reactive mind with the Scientology thing I talked about. This is the reactive mind working. Your body records these and I know because once I started working my way through it, and like I said, I need to do more auditing to get my way through it. But I thought about it. I'm like, okay, there's no reason I should be like reacting. So like after like I've had one pretty bad concussion. I didn't lose consciousness or anything, but I remember it took me like 2 months to get over it. And I remember like the brain fog was hard, sensitivity to light and all stuff for like 5 days. I ended up staying home for a couple of days.
Let me know if these lights bother you.
No, it's good. No, I'm good now. No, I'm good. I'm totally good. But I noticed then in the future, like a couple months later, like I think I was like sparring with a client or something like that, and like one shot came through and ripped, and my instant reaction was like, I was like, oh, what if I get a concussion from that? And then I noticed these onset of symptoms. It was like reactive. Like I started thinking about like that's probably a concussion. Meanwhile, then I think it was about 3 months later, I was rolling with a buddy, and I was going for just like a leg entry, and this fucking dude fell on top of me right on my head. Like his whole body fell right on my head. But I didn't, because I was doing jiu-jitsu and I didn't give it the same thought. I was like, I didn't think of it as the same as like getting punched during like kickboxing. I thought of it as something different. I had no concussion symptoms from it, which was a way harder impact than the shot before. So I'm not like discrediting the biological effects of what happens when you actually get a concussion, but I am crediting or discrediting, whatever, the reactive mind, that when you record these trauma responses, you're more likely to fall back on these things, these natural reactions, because it's like what your mind has been programmed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I remember even thinking like it's crazy you bring that up, because I think about all the times like as a kid, like you riding a bike with no helmet on or whatever it is, and you just fucking fall and smash your head.
No problem.
You just get back up.
Easy. Shake it off.
Yeah,
so malleable. They're fucking
good.
Nothing. Yeah.
And then there's other times, like I said, like I got in a car accident a couple of years ago. Airbag went off, and I remember literally, I don't even remember the impact. I remember driving, and then the next thing I remember is my literal ringing in my ears, Yeah.
Fuck
And
sakes.
someone banging on my window, being like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Are you okay?" Like I didn't know what was going on.
I don't know, bro.
I'm like,
I don't fucking
am
know.
I okay? Like,
Yeah.
like what the fuck? And
Yeah.
I'm like looking around in the dust from the airbag. I don't know if you've ever been hit by an airbag, man, but it's
Fuck no.
it's fucking
And,
brutal.
I don't plan on that.
Yeah.
I don't plan on that
But
at
like
all.
the
I will
dust-
not manifest that into the universe. I'm gonna have this on recording right now. I'm not gonna be in a car accident with my airbag going off ever in my life.
Bro, it's nuts. Like I got hit by the thing coming out of my steering wheel, and the smell of like the fucking chemicals,
Ew.
like the fucking powder is still going off. I like literally was like so dazed, and I literally remember just driving, and then the next second someone's banging on my window, being like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" Like,
Yeah.
I
I'm
get
happy
out-
you're alive, bro. I'm
Dude.
just gonna throw that out there right now. I'm very happy that something more severe didn't come out of this unfortunate incident.
I think we all kind of have like a guardian angel that way. Like I've got a buddy that says like he's like and it's annoying to fucking hear sometimes, but he's like everything's always working out for you, man. Like that's what he always says to anything that like you come to him with a problem. He's like, dude, I know that sucks, but it's okay because everything's always working out for you. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, dude, you woke up today.
Yeah.
Like literally everything's always working out for you.
100%.
Otherwise you wouldn't be here.
Every day is a blessing.
Dude, and it's yeah, I'm sure like everyone's had kind of like experiences like that. Like I wouldn't even say that it was a near death experience, but it was like it was like one of those things where it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And talk about brain fog, man, like memory loss. Like that's kind of one of those things where I guess that's kind of the scariest thing for me is like looking back and being like, I don't remember what happened.
Mhm.
Like I literally don't even remember what happened.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, dude, that's the most fucked up thing about concussions in my eyes.
A thing is too is like there is a lot of technology out there that like the average doctor like doesn't promote. So like after my last major one, I went to just like a regular doctor because I had onset symptoms basically
Like
6 hours
CTE?
later. Basically no, not CTE. Basically like 6 hours after the initial point of contact, I was like, so I did sparring in the morning. I went about my whole day. Like I had physio. I trained like 7 clients. I was sitting there eating my dinner, waiting for my next client. And then all of a sudden I fucking got real dizzy and like I fucking kind of like, sorry, dip from the mic there for a second. I kind of like fell and like hit the desk. And I was like, what the fuck? And then like the lights were going off. And then I kind of clued in right away. I was like, oh fuck, I have a concussion. What the fuck? I was like, from when? I was like, oh, it must have happened this morning. That's kind of stupid. So then I was like, whatever. I was like, I better go to the hospital to make sure, just to get checked out. I knew these fucking silly bastards weren't going to fucking do anything productive for me anyways. But I went because it would make my lady feel better. So I want to make her feel better. And it's always good to get like a professional, I quote unquote professional here, opinion. So I go there, they fucking run the test and the stuff. They're like, yeah, we don't think you have a brain bleed. Go home. I'm like, what should I do? They're like, avoid light, and you spend less time on your phone screen. Not mentioned. Then I went and saw my naturopath. Shadow Jam Kaleda, Integrative Naturopathic Clinic. Fuck, this guy's a wizard, bro. Anyways, I go there and he gets me on like NAC. Do you know what NAC is?
No.
NAC, yeah. So NAC is a supplement and it has a bunch of benefits. But what it does is
NAQ, is that what
NAC.
Oh, okay.
NAC.
Yeah, I haven't heard
What
of
it does is one of the things it does is helps clear mucus out of your like I forget the scientific biological term, but out of your airways. So you take NAC and it allows oxygen to run more freely through your body, which is obviously oxygenating the brain is very important in recovering concussions. I don't know if they told you that either.
No.
No.
Dude, the thing is, I've never even gone in to go see anybody. I'm a fucking idiot that way.
Oh, well, whatever. It is
Total
what it is.
meathead,
So,
though.
and then you gotta know about turmeric.
Yeah.
Turmeric and a curcumin. So he had me on 5,000 milligrams of turmeric a day to help fight the inflammation. And then he had 10,000 mils of omega-3s a day.
Okay.
Which is a massive dose.
Yeah.
But not once.
Did you say 10,000?
10,000.
Of omega-3.
10,000 of omega-3s.
Yeah, I think I
I
don't even use omega-3s.
I was on this
anymore,
other
but-
supplement, which is like an antioxidant. It's called
you should.
L-glutathione.
Yeah.
L-glutathione. Yeah. And not once was this mentioned when I was at the hospital. These guys who deal with direct trauma response, and that's not a knock to them, although it is at the same time. It's kind of a backhanded fucking thing. But it's a testament to that medical formation is very outdated. It's very cookie cutter.
Well, that's because there's no prescription for those things.
Yeah. But there is, though.
There's no, like, patent.
I had to go pay. I went to Whole Foods. I had to go to Whole Foods to spend the fucking money.
But it's like over the counter. Like you can just buy those from like you could go to Walmart. Like I'm saying, what I'm saying is they can't write you a prescription and then go to
back
a pharmacy.
to the pharmaceutical thing. Yeah. But America's owned by like 12 companies anyway. So whether I go buy, the money's going back some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
But what was my
just that these doctors
just that the doctors don't have it. Yeah, and so this information is just not readily accessible. They're just like, go home and rest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, rest is a very key, but there's a lot of other components that need to be brought in to help nurture the brain back from this traumatic injury, and the information's not there.
Just about nutrition, man. Like I remember, like when I was a kid, I got diagnosed with like ADHD. I think at like fucking 8 years old. Like I was one of those kids that's like hyperactive, bouncing off the walls.
Every kid's like that, man.
Dude, and you look at the diet we were eating. Like I remember, like fucking sugary cereals, fucking Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
I'm so happy we were poor and couldn't really afford that stuff.
But do you know what I mean? Like,
but I do. Yeah.
In the last year, I like have never been able to focus like I can now. And it's like, well, what am I eating? I fucking literally only eat, for the most part. Like obviously, I have cheat meals here and there.
Of course, we all have cheat meals.
But like,
I'm a big foodie. You follow me on Instagram, you will check out my epic cheat meals. They're fucking awesome,
bro. I'll show you a bunch of sick restaurants in Richmond.
Oh, bro, I'm in. Sign me up.
But my basic meals like consist of like fatty meats, eggs, steak, and like fruit. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, man.
And
animal-based diet, bro.
Dude, 100%.
Animal-based diet
and fruit.
Yeah,
I love
of course.
Fruit.
You gotta have fruit.
Love fruit.
I think fruit is technically part of the animal-based diet.
Yeah, I call it carnivore-ish.
Yeah,
That's what I call
carnivore-ish.
it. But dude, ever since I started, and I could talk about my gut problems and like in terms of like vegetables, different vegetables that fuck with me, but I'm just talking specifically about like the sugary fucking carbs that we eat, like bread, pasta, fucking all that garbage.
Retarded.
Bro, in terms of clearing up brain fog and my ADHD symptoms, like, bro, there was doctors prescribing me with like all these different things in terms of like anti-anxiety and anti-ADHD medication. Like I could fucking go through a list of prescriptions I've been through. And it's like, since I've cut out all of these garbage carbs and having like sugar in my fucking system all the time that isn't fruit, it's like, man, all of these symptoms start going away. And it's like, why didn't they tell me to just stop eating garbage?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Like, what
people are so ready to
praise
the fucking medical industry, which obviously has a lot of great corners to it, obviously.
Dude, I'm getting surgery on my face in a couple months. Like I've got a fucking issue in my nose right now because my septum's fucked from being an idiot. But dude, I love the medical industry for that. I love the way that we do surgeries.
We've progressed a lot as a species. The medical industry has a lot of great innovations to it. Saves a lot of lives, does a lot. But baseline, there's a lot of holes into it still.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like, in terms of like just nutrition, like you talk to a naturopath and dude, if you met my girl and talked to her about that, she sees a naturopath like literally, I think once a month at least.
Hell yeah.
Because of certain like problems that she's been dealing with in her health. And it's like, man, the amount that they're willing to help you and the lengths that they'll go to of like, I remember even just like the first positive experience I had in terms of like depression and anxiety was like the doctor that sat me down and he was like, I literally said to him, I'm like, if you start prescribing me medication, I'm fucking walking out of this office. Like, it's not happening. And he's like, what kind of books do you read? Like, what kind of food do you have? Like, what's your exercise like? What's your relationship with your parents? Like we sat there for like 2 hours and he's just asking me all these questions. And I'm like, you're my doctor, man.
Yeah,
like, this
you're
is
the
my
fucking
guy.
man. Yeah.
This is my guy.
Hell yeah.
And it's like, he was in a hospital. Like, that's where I was with my mental health, you know? And it's like, I'm not trying to say that all doctors are fucked. I'm just saying,
no, of course
like,
not. No,
some of them, most of them that I came across were like, there's not a lot that are willing to ask these questions.
Been run through these same cookie cutter institutions, and they're all just like brainwashed to think the same way, and the system hasn't changed a whole lot. So all these guys, and God bless them, because clearly they take the strenuous path of becoming a doctor, which is not hard, taking all those classes, all that education, or not. Yeah, sorry, fuck my bad. Not easy. It's very hard. It is not easy. My apologies.
I couldn't sit through those classes, man. There's a reason I'm a college dropout.
Couldn't do it, man. No, couldn't do it. No, absolutely not. With the idea that they want to save lives, they want to and God bless them for doing so. But unfortunately, lots of the time, that's not what they're adequately trained to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, if you want to jump down the rabbit hole, it's like, well, who's like kind of making the curriculum that they're studying, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of where I've been thinking about recently. And
Well, the shit's outdated, man. Like, and then so one thing that I want to touch on, like, as an example of like how the curriculum's outdated. So, I forget what this doctor's name, but he was a racist piece of shit. And he would perform like medical tests or theories or whatever you want to call it on African American women, like way back in, like, this was like in the 1800s. I think it should be no secret. Women are supposed to not give birth laying down. It can make it a lot more strenuous of a process most of the time. But then, so he started making African American women give birth laying down because, in his words, explicit word, don't feel pain.
wow.
And then obviously, like,
What's the purpose of getting them to lay down there? Is that just like, it's like he's just
I don't remember what the exact practice was, or why, like, what was the difference was. But there was like this, I don't remember. There was a king of France. Originally, I think it came from actually this guy. This was like in the 17th century. This sick fuck, who's king of France, was obsessed with watching the birthing process happen from all his like wives and concubines. Yeah, so he kind of is like the first recorded piece of info, whatever you want to call it, first recorded dude of like, he had an obsession with watching the birthing process happen. Then you have this guy, this racist doctor whose name fucking escapes me. I have it somewhere on my Instagram. I posted about it like a week ago. Saying
I'll
that
throw it up on the bottom of the screen
Yeah.
here once we find it. Or
women, that these women don't feel pain. And then obviously in the 18th century, like, general respect as a society towards women was like way off in Western society, really fucked up. So then the practice was just like, oh, we can have less medical staff present when women are giving birth, despite their race. So now
having them lay down.
having them lay down, yeah, because normally, like, women are supposed to give birth like generally like seated up, giving birth down like this from my readings online. So then you have like,
Or what about like
two-
the pool thing? Like
the water birth.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard like, have you heard about dolphin birthing?
no.
Yeah, dolphin birthing is a crazy thing. Well, I don't know. Anyways, side second. But gravity helps women give birth laying down like this. The baby comes out. It's caught. It obviously casts so it doesn't fucking fall and hit its head on the ground like that one scene in Austin Powers.
Yeah.
yeah.
He just drops out.
They catch the baby. There's a midwife or somebody on either side of the woman helping her stay in this upright position so she can give birth and go through the process. So then this fucking piece of shit doctor was like, hey, we can have less medical staff present. This woman can just give birth laying down. Less of us can be in the room. And yeah, that's where that came from. So now what I've heard is like, some hospitals give you the option, I think, of changing your birthing position. I don't know. My lady and I haven't had children yet, so I don't know. We will be having children at home. God permit us to. But now I heard they give you the option of doing it more. But like, that's outdated medical information.
Mm-hmm.
Women should not be giving birth laying down.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think. It's weird to think about, man, because you think about all these different things. And dude, I was gonna make the joke of just like, even like the most natural, like you hear those like things where it's like the most natural position to take a shit is not the way we do it.
No,
you know?
not at all,
it's
man.
Like to be squatting.
Feet should be
down.
up, man.
Yeah.
In like a squatted position.
Yeah. And when you think about it, it's like kind of a similar position the way you're describing it, and it kind of makes a little bit more sense because it does. I mean, I think behind the taking a shit thing, it's like there's like a fucking.
I see that. Yeah, I see that. Get the fuck out of here.
But
he's trying to get shout out to the fly in the room, man.
Yeah, shout out to the fly in the room, man. That's our CSIS or FBI agents trying to fucking sneak into the conversation, but we're slowly converting them one conversation at a time. But I think it's like for the taking a shit thing, it's like it like straightens your guts a bit more when you're like in that more natural position. Yeah. So I mean that makes more sense as well with like childbirth. I wonder what it is like, because I think with the water birth. Is that what it's called when you're in the pool at home kind of thing?
Water birth. Yeah.
They put you almost like in a fetal position, like you're on your knees and you're
Okay.
like kind of leaning more, which is kind of identical to like if you were to just be squatting, just
Right.
like sideways. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I feel like yeah, maybe that makes sense. I'm not a huge dude. Like I'm not even married yet. Like I have no idea on how that stuff works, but I feel like that kind of makes more sense. Like just kind of straightening the guts out a bit more, rather than like when you're like, yeah, I don't know. I like maybe that's why as well. Like there's like that kind of increase of like C-sections, increase of like all these different kind of you hear about all these birth, but I don't know. What's the mortality rate been like since then in terms of childbirth?
I don't actually know. I do not know. No.
I wonder if that's changed.
I don't know. But yo, shout out to C-sections, man. C-sections have saved a lot of lives. I actually had
my life, man.
I actually had some friends of mine. I'll just leave them nameless because it's private information. But just recently, in the last couple of weeks, they had to have a C-section because their baby was like 11 pounds 4 ounces.
Holy shit!
It's a fucking massive baby, man.
Bro,
That's a big baby. So they were like, "Yeah, that's not happening. We're just gonna perform a C-section." And
dude,
like,
I knew a chick that had to have a C-section because her baby, I think, like literally, I think either pissed or shit while it was still in the womb, like mid-birth.
Oh, what?
And they were like, "Yo, we got to cut this out because you could go septic.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you might die." And she's like, "Get it out however you need to." And they had to like literally
course.
after they get the baby out, they had to like sit there and clean her out because it's like you're gonna go septic and die.
Damn.
Super fucked. So
how we got onto this is shout out to the advanced medical practices and the doctors that make this happen, because clearly this is a life-saving medical information and practices that have been brought out. But we're not trying to like dog the medical industry entirely, obviously.
Yeah, the reason I brought all this up is because I think it's important to kind of not take everything with a grain of salt, but to be able to check all resources,
Right.
without kind of condemning a certain like. Because there's people that are like, you see a naturopath, and I'm like, bro, there's
People that don't even know what a naturopath is.
Yeah, like you haven't even considered it. Like,
Yeah.
It's so crazy how people are so willing to write off a complete like entire section of like what I would consider to be like healthcare.
Yeah.
Like you like, and it's so funny because I make jokes all the time. Like I made a reel where it's like, you eat like shit, you don't exercise, you hang out with toxic fucking people, you watch porn all the time, you fucking get high all the time, you work a job you hate, like all these different factors, whatever it could be, like you literally treat yourself like shit, and you wonder why you're fucking depressed and shit, like you feel like shit all the time. And sick, yeah, exactly. And it's like, man, we completely write off all these different things that literally have direct impacts on how we feel.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
It's crazy, man. Damn. Yeah. People are so ready to write off naturopaths too. That's crazy. I feel like that's a little less these days, but they still are.
That's because they're suffering more.
So
they're like they're desperate. They're like, please help.
Yeah. So like that same person who'll discredit a naturopath. So say they go to a naturopath when they're 40, and they're like, hey man, how can I avoid getting cancer? If they were to open up their mind and go see a naturopath, and the naturopath would be like, hey, just eat less sugar. Stay away from refined sugars, man. Don't eat that shit.
Yeah.
Your cancer cells can't grow without it. Sick, easy solution, right? But they don't, because they're arrogant or whatever. They're arrogant to that idea.
Well, when they see like
Then they're
commercials
60.
and they go into the grocery store and they're like, why would they carry it if this is cancer causing? You know, like
Stupid. Then they're 60. Then they get cancer. They go to a regular doctor and he's like, hey, take chemo. Take the $700. I think it's even more in the States. It's $700 in Canada, I'm pretty sure, right?
I have no idea.
I think it's $700. Take this chemical, pump it into your body to kill the cancer that's in there, and they just like jump on it right away because they're faced with the negative scenario. And I got like chemo is, despite chemo's very low success rate of 2%, or I think it's under 2%, it has saved lives.
I think it's different for different cancers, but you're probably right.
So yeah, but for whatever reason, they're like, yeah, go see a naturopath, man. Go see a fucking naturopath.
Yeah.
Don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest beef that I have with like a lot of things right now is like treating the symptom without actually looking into like the cause.
The root cause of the issue, yeah.
And that's like where Like, dude, I failed myself for years with depression and anxiety for that exact reason. Like, I was on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication. And I'm not dogging medication at all. Like, if you need to take that shit, like, if your alternative is like,
I'm dogging
fucking-
medication, by the way. I am.
Okay.
I am. When it comes to mental health issues, I will dog a lot of medication.
I'll
yes.
say this though: if the alternative is you offing yourself, fucking take your
100%.
medication.
Yo, absolutely.
Take your medication.
100 fucking
But
percent.
look into the cause.
Yeah.
Instead of just treating the symptom. You know what I mean? Like, that's the way I look at it. Like,
I think the thing, I'm going to lean back a little bit here, get a little comfortable. The thing that you said earlier on when we started the podcast, and I'm happy you touched on it, I'm happy you have that support around you, was I think you said your lady was like, yo, you don't got time to be in this funk. Like, you just essentially like get over it, right? I think that's a very important thing to do. Like
I'm just stepping away for 1 sec to grab my charger. My laptop's going to die, but keep going.
I think that's an important concept to wrap our head around too, because like mental health is like very serious, and we need to tackle it, and we need to find like the root cause so we can like people can actually be cured, not necessarily through just there needs to be lifestyle changes, and you can't just pump them full of pharmaceuticals, because pumping them full of pharmaceuticals has its own detrimental effects later on, way down the line.
Oh, bro, 100%.
But there needs to be like, yo, man, you got fucking shit to do. You don't have time to sit and sulk. Life's hard. Life's hard for all of us. I know the fucking struggles I've done. I was homeless. I was literally homeless. I don't know if you knew that before either.
I saw it on a post.
Yeah,
one
I saw it on
time.
a post. Yeah, I was homeless. Everyone's like faced their own hardships. It doesn't fucking matter, man. Life's hard. That's part of life. Anything in life worth doing is hard. I think we all kind of know that. That includes life itself. Life is hard. Being broke is hard. Being rich is hard. Pick your hard. Eating healthy is hard. Being unhealthy is hard. Pick your hard. So just grounding that back to like the mental health thing. Like, yeah, it sucks, dude, but work to make it better.
Yeah,
You can't
100%.
just sit around like.
I think too, like, we justify like, oh, I feel like shit, so I'm just gonna stay inside and I'm gonna fucking do my quote unquote self care. And what's your self care? Oh, I eat a box of pizza, I drink a bottle of wine, I fucking binge watch Netflix and blah blah blah. And it's like
So there you go. So you stayed indoors, put harmful.
lock yourself in your room.
Lock yourself in your room. Put
Didn't see people.
Put harmful substances in your body, which costs you, say, well, I don't know, pizza, wine. What else did you say? Whatever else.
Netflix subscription.
So that cost you what? $50, $60. So
Yeah.
you stayed inside, didn't make any money.
You
spent
lost
money.
money.
You lost money putting these like harmful substances in your body, which then is going to cost you more later on. Like, it's just like it's like almost a no-brainer when you look at it from the outside. Like, no, that's stupid. Get out, go for a walk, go be productive, focusing on producing. Life would be just so much better.
Yeah, and I think it's like also like we say like, oh, I did these things because I was depressed, and it's like, no, you're depressed because you fucking do those things all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have we're coming up on like 2 hours here.
That's crazy.
Do you have any other things you want to think about or that you wanted to bring up, or?
Well, I just want to like
Because I want to dig into the homelessness thing, and I want to dig into that stuff, but I want to dig into it in depth.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I just want to like go off here before I forget is people are so ready to be like stuck in the loom and gloom of everything, but then they're not. Like, what are you doing to fucking change it? You know what I mean? Like, well, back to the mask issue. I tackled the mask issue head on as I could. Like, I wrote letters, physical letters to my members of parliament. I spoke out. I attended rallies. I made calls. I sent out emails, physical letters. As I said, I actually worked to make change, and that's just one little issue that I took on. I will testify to those that are maybe going to jump on our ass right away. I get that masks are a very small, inconvenient thing to partake, but since the topic of body autonomy, yeah, since the topic of body autonomy is so hot right now, that's kind of what it kind of rounds about back to is I shouldn't be forced to do that thing, or I should not be forced to do that thing. You know what I mean? But back to rounding it back around again. So people are so ready to like complain about these issues, but then they don't work to put themselves in a position to change it. So like, for example, like I want to feed more people because I grew up hungry a lot. And so I am going to work my ass off. I'm going to be a fucking billionaire one day, and I am going to literally feed families. That's a goal of mine. And it's very like simple. Obviously, we can dive deep into all the little intricacies that go behind that, but that's a goal of mine. I'm actually going to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
What are these other people willing, like, are they actually doing it? Do you actually have like a goal in mind? You see what I mean? People are so ready to be loom and gloom, but they don't want to like tackle the issue head on themselves.
Oh, 100%.
They want it to be fixed by somebody else. So I think that's a big thing that needs to change throughout society. Whatever your issue is, we'll say it like since the abortion issue is such a serious issue right now, and I don't want to. Maybe we will dive into that a little bit, but
We might have to save that for episode 2.
yeah, I say that for episode 2. But people are so like, and I understand wholeheartedly why people feel so passionate about that on either side of the argument. Are you working to put yourself in a position to have direct influence on that issue as a whole?
Mm-hmm.
If not, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%, dude. I definitely resonate with that because, like, I spend hours and hours and hours of my week completely unpaid right now doing this podcast because for me, my main mission was, like, I felt like a lot of the time growing up, like, I don't think that a lot of the circumstances I dealt with, like, I was never homeless, but yet I still dealt with, like, depression, anxiety, all these different mental illnesses. And for me, I felt like the root of it was not being able to actually discuss what we're going through. And so, like, to your point, it's like I said to myself at one point, I was like, if I'm going to stay alive, I'm going to do my very fucking best to guarantee that no one grows up feeling like they can't fucking talk about this shit.
100%.
So that was the motivation to start a podcast. Like, and then it's like, well, what are you doing after work? I'm working on my podcast.
Yeah.
What are you doing after your workout? I'm working on my podcast. Like, my buddy asked me the other day, he's like, yo, you still gaming? Like, I'm like, dude, I wish I could, but I don't have the time anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, I quit doing drugs. I quit drinking. I quit all these things because I need to fucking focus on this thing. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, it's like, I can't fucking do those things anymore because that was what I was doing to avoid fucking talking about my shit.
Yeah.
So that's the way I fucking 100% resonate with that, man. I think that's a beautiful fucking place to wrap this up. I don't know if you have any closing thoughts, anything else you want to chat about or anything like that. We could always save it for round 2, which I'm super fucking down for if you are.
Yeah, I'm totally down for it, bro. Yeah, wherever you think. Yeah.
Did you have anything else you want to chat about, any topics? Because I did want to dive a little bit more into your backstory, but I didn't want to just lead off with that. I want to kind of get to know you first a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I think that's where we start off, maybe round 2. I don't know if you have anything else.
Well, we'll just put on like we touched on a lot of topics today. Just put on a closing idea here that people need to be more goal orientated and really need to like focus their energies and that's a testament to what you have done working on this podcast. You've cut out all these negative things and people are so ready to be comfortable with the life that they have. And then before you know it, like time is a precious thing. They keep running out of time. They're wasting time on meaningless things and it doesn't like work towards their goals. So like surrounding yourself with like more positive influence for it's easy to go out every week. You'll definitely have some friends that want to go out every weekend, that want to drink, that want to eat, they want to hit a patio or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think doing those things once in a while is great because everybody needs a social life, but doing that shit every other day or every weekend, that doesn't align with your goals, does it? Maybe it does. Those are some pretty whack goals if you ask me, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Going to Cactus Club fucking patio.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Like, people need to put their nose to the grindstone and really accumulate their energies more into their ethics and to their goals, which is something that, as I said, you have spoken about that you've done so passionately. So yeah, that's fucking cool, bro. Good for you, man.
Dude, fuck yeah. And the one thing I was gonna say as well is like maybe your goal isn't to fucking feed the homeless or feed the hungry or fucking put an end to the stigma around mental health. I don't think that like even as much as I'd love to say I'm gonna fucking make sure that nobody feels the same way that I felt, and I'm sure you've got the realistic understanding that you're not gonna feed every fucking hungry mouth.
No, of course not.
But like maybe that's not your goal. Like maybe your goal is fucking anything, but that's what I'm saying is like, and I think that's what you're saying as well is like go towards something, like go towards something that means something to you. You know, like don't just fucking work a fucking 9 to 5 job and that's it.
No, that sucks.
Like I work a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
I'm not dogging that. I'm just saying, want something more.
Yeah.
Do something more.
Yeah. The
Like-
cookie cutter, the cookie cutter middle class idea. One, not only is like everything kind of like war on the middle class, like including the economy itself, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like a dead end thing, you know, like working 9 to 5, go home, watch TV, watch the news,
Yeah.
get sucked into the bad news, gossip about the news on Saturday at a barbecue with your other friends.
Yeah.
Sunday, watch Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
Monday, go back to work. Sounds fucking even horrible talking about it. How could anyone get settled into like that? No, it's terrible.
Dude,
It's
yeah.
awful, man.
And it's crazy too, because I'm sure that you like, actually no, because your schedule's probably a bit different than mine. But I was gonna say, like, even my weekends, I end up doing more shit on the weekends than I do on my weekdays, because it's like, oh, this is my day off. Now I can do all of the shit that
All
I
this
was
other
planning.
stuff.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I know that when you're when you're an entrepreneur and you're fully like making money off yourself, your schedule is a little bit different. But like I definitely have, I don't call it my 9 to 5, I call it my 7 to 3, because my hours are a bit different. But yeah, when I get my days off, like even like a stat holiday, Saturday, Sunday, like I sleep less those days, you know, like it's like I'm fucking go.
Working.
So
Because there's like, there's a plague of average in society right now. And that's what it looks like, man. The generic like 9 to 5, quote unquote, image there. And people get stuck in that trap, man. And that sucks. Got to break free of the trap.
oh yeah. Fuck, dude, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap this up. Dude, thank you so much for fucking coming out here.
Brother,
Thank you
for
this
having
time.
me, man.
Dude, thank
First
you for the
podcast
drive out
ever.
here.
Of course, bro. It's my
Yeah,
pleasure.
I took his fucking podcast virginity
yeah.
today,
It's like a
dude.
30-minute
and you
drive too,
lasted and you lasted 2 hours your first time, man. That's
I
record
thought it was
breaking.
gonna be like 3 hours for whatever reason. I
Fuck,
know
dude.
we gotta have like a second or third.
Dude, at least
We
we'll make
did.
it a regular thing. There's very few people that make it like multiple times on here, because just sometimes like to be honest, like I have to be super down to fucking sit down and talk to someone for
Of
2
course,
hours. I
yeah,
can't fucking
100%.
fake it. So I'm definitely looking forward to round 2, man. We can definitely do that soon.
Hell yeah, brother.
Let's
Sounds
fucking
great.
plan it right now. But thank you guys so much for listening to this. Thank you for watching this. Let us know what you think. If you think we're fucking idiots, if you think we're completely off our rockers or out to lunch, like if you think we're crazy as fuck, or if you agree with us, maybe you're maybe the off chance you completely agree with us. Let us know. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I fucking love you guys. Fucking love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
And,
Stay blessed, everybody. Thank you very much for listening.
Oh yeah. Oh, shout out your Instagram as well.
Oh yeah, shout out my Instagram.
Littlechild.bjj.
Littlechild.bjj. Yeah, Coach Mad Dog. Holler at me. Holler at your boy.
Fuck yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much. Much love and peace out.